I'll find it. Hours. That's not it. I don't know where it is. Give me another time. Okay, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. I cannot find to share, so I'm just saying good night. Rebecca, good night. Good night.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm saying good night. Could you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Yeah. So I sent out a message that T will not be able to make it in with us tonight.
Oh.
Yeah. So yes, on tonight. Just take your music off. It's okay. Just turn your music off. It's gonna be fine.
It was my voice.
Yeah, but you have some music in the background. Turn it off.
Oh, it's TBN, my mom.
Not too much. It's okay. Just mute. It's okay. It's fine. So we have a guest on tonight, and I didn't see him yet. So I sent out what we're going to be talking about tonight. Hopefully, I may find it. I only found it 2 days ago, 13 hours ago. Probably Jim FM has not posted yet, so I'll wait for it. So I sent us a message tonight, and it was late night because I'm running back and forth. And that message is on the chat. So the topic for discussion is what painful experience that we have gone through, that we can use to encourage others today. What painful experience? This is heart to heart. So this is about the matters of the heart tonight. What painful experience that we have gone through that we can teach others about tonight. And I've learned a very long time ago that everybody have a story. And that used to get me upset when people say everybody have a story. And I used to go like, no, that's not right. You know, everybody have a story. And then I learned what that meant. So it may not be, when they say story, it may not be the big story that you're looking to hear about somebody kidnapped you and you went to Saudi Arabia and you never come back for 13 years. Not those big stories, but we have enough to talk about tonight. We can talk about experience that we're going through with people, or experience that we have walked through somebody and experienced their pain, experienced their hurt, and now tonight we live to tell the stories. It can be like that. But you can have awesome testimony that you says, I have walked with a family, and this family have been through that. So I'm living out to tell that story, to tell you how encouraging or how hard it was to walk with that family. And today they are champions in the Lord. So a story could mean, it could mean a life experience, personal life experience. It can be something that you hear from outside and you want to bring it in. It could be something that you walk through with a family that they was going through some bad hiccups, and then this happened, and now you're afloat now to tell somebody, I have been there with that family. And that was my takeaway from the hurt of the family. And I know I could use that today to encourage myself. So it's not to encourage you, but as I speak about it, then it can also encourage you. Yeah. Or you can talk about a family, some family member, XYZ, a family member, don't mention if it's a girl or boy, and you can say they had that experience, and through that I've learned to go closer to God, or through that today I can minister to somebody concerning that pain and that hurt, and tell the person, if you're going through the same thing, these are the steps that you can take to make it better or to make it lighter for you. Because the word of the Lord says, the Lord is your strength. He's your hope. He's your salvation. In him, there is so much that you can learn. There's so much that you can teach. There is so much that you can pray about, because he said, I would never leave you nor forsake you. And he says, even in the dents of things, he will make a way for you. And there is a way of escape. Amen. So I thought Veronica, I would have been on, but unfortunately, I don't see her yet, or probably she's going to come in at 8:30. I'm not too sure. So in the meantime, I'll turn to, let me turn to Rebecca, and probably Rebecca may be able to talk tonight. And I sit back for a while. I know Minister Oliver, I think she's on her way home or something like that. My day was very hectic, so sorry guys. That's why I'm so sketchy tonight. I'm kind of tired. So I was busy. So I'm going to turn over to Rebecca. And Rebecca going to take the stage for a bit, and I'm going to do something here.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gem FM from social media, on Facebook or Radio Land. Good evening. I give God thanks for Gem FM tonight, that I can come here and find refuge. My day was a bit busy, but in it still I give God thanks for the grace and the moments and the quietness in between. I give God thanks for that. Today is just, I had an image, or maybe something the Lord brought to my mind. And I said to myself, I got to share it on Gem FM. I said, maybe I'm not speaking tonight, I don't know. But anyways, I wanted to share. And it's just something that helped me, encourage me, in especially when I was going through depression, and even in very difficult moments, or when you start to feel as if your circumstances are not going to change and things don't seem to get better. I want to talk about the experience of Jesus Christ, the Garden of Gethsemane. And there's so many revelation, so much blessings just from that scripture, where we can truly begin to relate with the Lord, what we're going through. One of the blessings that I find from Gethsemane is that God's humanity. He showed at that point in time how weak he was. And he was not afraid of his humanity. But what he did was he went to the Lord in prayer. And not only did he went to the Lord in prayer, but he also went to the body of believers, which were the disciples. At that time, people are not spiritually discerning about what was happening with Jesus Christ. But in that moment and that time, what I see that was happening was the Lord was just asking them to pray. It was a desperate and most difficult, painful season in the Christ of Jesus Christ, where it comes to a point where we hear the scripture that David encourages when it's so hard. There are some days when it's really difficult, and you might be even telling you're trying to do positive thinking, you're trying your best to fight, really to fight against the things that are happening in your mind, but yet you feel as if you're not succeeding. You still feel like as if you're not winning. The reason, of course, for that is because the battle that you face is not emotional, it's spiritual. And we are dealing with a spiritual that are basically that we struggle with. But one thing I love about Gethsemane, and I want to encourage somebody today, someone who's going through depression, someone who is really stressed. What I saw that Jesus did is that in the moment of weakness, in that day, that moment that he was going through, he was so desperate that he prayed not only once, not only twice, but 3 times. It was a real, sometimes you find there are times when in the morning you're doing okay and God, everything is going okay. And then after something happens in the afternoon, and then, oh my God, and then you feel like but it's a constant battle. But what I love so much about this scripture, it shows me that it's okay to be weak. It's okay that you are not in the right place, because that is where he comes in. And it's something that I have to learn to let put your burdens in him. And so I just want to encourage somebody tonight that you may be going through a season really where it's so difficult, it's so challenging, it is so hard. But I want to encourage you to know that Jesus himself was human, just like any one of us. And it actually encouraged me, and it removed condemnation, it removed fear, to let me know it's okay if I'm struggling. It doesn't mean that you're weak, it just means that you're human. And that you need to, it is really what you do with it. It's not define you, but it's your response to the circumstances you're experiencing. What you do. Now, in the same very scripture, the Lord did something. He went and prayed. So we are to do the same thing. He said, Father, you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done.
Amen.
And then there appeared him an angel from heaven, strengthening him. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly. Even after he was ministered by an angel, he continued to pray. It means that the battle and the struggle is real. It's not something that's just gonna happen and you pray and it's gone. But it's okay. And you get into a habit of going to the Lord and saying, God, help me. Throughout your day, God, give me strength. Father, I need you. The weakest Christian, the one that cries out the most, is the most strongest Christian. It's true. Because you're saying to yourself, you're not relying on your own strength. So I just want to encourage someone tonight. Wherever you, as Minister Tex was saying, everybody has a story. Every one of us has something that we've been through or we experience. But I give God thanks that Jesus said, it's not our will, but his will be done. And so that when you're going through it and you feel the agony and you feel like God, it's not moving, ask the Lord, Father, keep going to the Lord. Keep praying. Keep praying. And even if you feel like, oh God, the next hour nothing is happening, it's okay. Just continue. Call somebody until you reach to a place where you feel a release. Because when he saw the disciples, they were tired, they went to sleep. And the Lord said, oh my God, could you not tarry and watch? So just want to encourage somebody today. If you have a story and you're going through something, remember Jesus himself was in Gethsemane. But what did he do? He just constantly called upon God. He said, God, it's hard. It's difficult. Help me to overcome whatever battles they may be, emotionally, financially, spiritually, anything. God, help me. So I just want to give God thanks tonight to whoever is listening, that they receive just an encouragement, because I felt that that's what the Lord had laid in my heart to do. That it's such a blessing for me to know that in my own humanity, there's so much people out there that are living under condemnation. There's so many people out there that are so ashamed. They're living under the weight of what the enemy has told them, not realizing that we can go to Christ. There's access. We can say, Lord, help me in time of need. And then let his presence come. Be a place where you just sense his presence, his glory. So I give God thanks tonight. I just want to turn it right back over to Minister Tex.
Well, good night, Mr. Is it Lexi? Can you hear me?
Yes, good night, Mexi.
Oh, Mexi. Okay. Tonight is Heart to Heart. The name of the show is Heart to Heart. Men hurt twice more than ladies. And this topic came up tonight because I was dealing with something today with somebody. And the topic that I brought together for tonight is what painful experience that we're going through that we can share tonight to encourage somebody. And that's one of the things that Rebecca was talking about. She brought it through from mental illness, the finances, to just encouragement. I beg your pardon?
Raining heavy.
Well, it's raining. Oh, so it's very heavy. So you cannot hear me good.
Yeah, are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So go ahead. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, I was saying what painful, the topic that we have tonight is what painful experience that you have gone through or walked through with somebody or walked through with a family member, a friend, or somebody, a colleague, somebody somewhere that you have walked through this experience that you can use that experience to share tonight to encourage someone out there that is hurting.
Wow. I had so many experiences. Maybe who's a friend, a brother. You had a brother that went out at sea and didn't come back. And that was kind of hurting. Like even watching my mom kind of try to bear the pain, and other family members. That was like my only brother here. So yeah, because I had a smaller brother, but he lived in Canada. So you know. That was my only brother by my mother's side.
Mm.
So that was kind of a tight one. When he went out, I was in Jamaica at the time. My mom was in Canada. My other sisters was in Canada. So there wasn't anybody here. So up to this day, we hadn't never got his body or anything.
Jesus.
So, yeah, so it's like you know, but it kind of showed me to appreciate a lot of people while they're here, because sometimes we had our little tug of war with our little pool. I mean, brothers growing up, you know.
Mhm.
But when he was gone, that's when I really felt like what a brother really is, or a brother, because I didn't have a next one
Mhm.
close to me or so. The other one is in Canada, you know, and yeah, so that kind of taught me the lesson to appreciate love people while they have the breath of life, you know, because sometimes we see people living and you're not living too well. Maybe someone could help, or even if it's just a word of comfort self, you know, because sometimes we say help, and when people say help, like financial financial is the only help. It's not, you know. Sometimes just a regular word of comfort, the hearing of the voice, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of gave me, because like I was saying, people would wait till you're dead and they give you a casket for $60,000, $70,000. I don't want none of that. You know what I'm saying? I wanted that teach me to let people see what and feel what you bring to them when they have the breath, and they could at least have a high heart and hopes to you, whether be it a family, a friend, a foe, whatever it is. I mean, human beings on the whole, you know, because we're all equal, you know. I never met somebody with a different kind of blood than what we have. I never met somebody breathing a different air than we breathe. So that tells me that we are all the same, you know. So that one experience kind of got me close to family members and people on the whole. You know, I appreciate loving people whilst you can, and when, to me, I would say when it makes sense,
Mhm.
you know. So that was one experience.
Yeah, and when you say when it makes sense, help me to understand that statement.
Yeah, well, I would say when it makes sense, because if I'm lying in a casket and you're giving me all this
Okay.
this
So when you're
stuff
alive.
and I have no use for it, I can see all my life I could have do with a little, maybe 2-sheet apply on a house, a galvanize, a word of comfort, and now you're giving me all these things which makes no sense to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I would still prefer now you give it to somebody who it makes sense and would work the while now.
Mhm. All right. So let's see. So I got 2 messages that Veronica will not be able to come on and T. So I'm gonna end this session and then I'm gonna come back with it. So Mexi, the M is here. I want to ask him, how does a man hurt different from a woman? How does he hurt? Does he hurt alone, or does he hurt and just cannot explain it?
Sometimes we really give our heart, you know. You know, sometimes we really give our whole heart, and then, I mean, it goes vice versa, because women give their whole heart and they get hurt same ways too. But I don't know, sometimes we give our whole heart, and when it hurts, it hurts the most.
Hmm.
You know, it just hurts the most. Well, I mean, I would say it hurts the most. A lady might say it hurts the most for her. I can't know how hurt she feels. I would only know how hurt I feel, but I mean, sometimes it hurts the most, man. I don't know if we maybe we're more emotional.
Okay.
I don't know if we're more emotional, you know, but yeah, it hurts more, man.
Wow. I learned something new tonight. I'm gonna write it down. Give me a second. You know why? Yeah, I'm smiling because I often see men hurt twice more than ladies, and I want to explore on a bit of that statement, because when a girl is born, she get groomed from the moment she was born. She's groomed, and she get to this age of starting to play with dollies, you know, and the mother would come along and we call her a princess, or she will tell her, you know, when you grow up, oh, you will be such a good mother and a good wife. So they will teach us how to cook, how to clean the house, how to keep things in order. But with a boy, he get abused from day one. Why is he crying, Jam, so much? Does he have cried? And then by the time he reach what? Starting to creep or start to talk, he says, you got to be a strong guy. And you see the guy put up the arm, his muscles. And he was taught not to show, or he was taught by his parents or the peers or wherever he grew up around. Never show emotion. When you show emotion as a man, you're weak. So guys tend to show the emotion. So guys tend not to show emotion. And because of that, that is one of the sticky place that men get when they get older. They get into violence because they learn that I'm a man very young. You're the man of the house. Responsibility that he don't even know how to carry. And if you're crying, it's, well, what's the problem? Are you a little girl? Stop crying. So you find men grow up on that basis, not learning to show emotion because of fear. Some men, I should say, because some mothers teach their boy children differently. But then you have that spectrum. And then the other spectrum is some guys that they grew up just on the side of the road, men who drinking rum, and they will talk about the sex word. And they will tell you, man, this is the way to go. You know, the more you have is better for you. And they will groom, not even speaking to the young man, but that's a conversation on the block. So he get those kind of conversation on the block. Here he start life very early. And then he get into his 30s and 40s and realize, no, things is more serious. It's not just going from Susan to Carol to Pauline. You just go here and you do what you got to do here and you stable yourself here. Nobody teach him. So he grew up wild. And then when he became a man, he said, well, why is he so wild? He was never taught. He was abused from a very young age, not to show emotions. So some young men get raped early. Some young men get abused from the age of 12 years by their mother. Some young men get it by their father. That's why when we see young men grow up and you hear they say, I'm just a gay person, I just love men, we can't judge them because we don't know where their story come from. In order to judge a man, you got to know where he's coming from. So those are the things that I would like for us to talk about tonight.
Yeah. Right. Well,
John is going to be in with us soon, he says, so which is great.
Yeah. So, well, on the emotional part, you know, yeah, we always been taught to man up. Even as a child, you're crying, man up. I mean, you know, swallow it and man up. You gotta be tough and you know, so we always grow up with that I guess it have its disadvantage and its advantage, you know, because for me, growing up, I wouldn't have liked it. I might sometimes it's like I want to cry. You know, I got to man up. I got to like show toughness, and that's not really what I want to do. I want to cry. I want to scream. You know, but then again, in growing up and as life goes on and the experience of life and the trials of life comes on and goes and comes, it all pays off some way or the other, more than once, many times, where having to man up gives you that firm stand from even as a youth, learning to man up. You know,
Mm.
it gives you a firm stand from, because it's very easy to get weak, huh? Yeah, it's very easy to get weak, you know. I mean, just letting go and you get weak. So sometimes when you remember growing up and how tough you had was to be, and it for me, it becomes part of my life. Me manning up, being tough, it becomes part of my life from growing up.
Mm.
So to me, it's more of a advantage for me than a disadvantage. I use it as an advantage for me.
Okay. But well, with your peers around you, and you see they get weak or just can handle stuff, how do you help them deal with that? Man to man, then.
Yeah, well, I really believe in being my brother's keeper. You know? And being my brother's keeper is like in school, we used to sing the little song, if you see your brother falling by the way, or if you see your sister falling by the way, you know? So these all these little songs and things we used to be singing, just stop and say we're going the wrong way, stretch a hand, you gotta show a little kindness. And remember all those songs we used to be singing in school. I mean, as a youth growing up, they were just songs, you know, and then getting older and again seeing life, we realize that they're really saying something. So you know, when you really listen to them, and that's one of the reasons why again I choose to do the kind of music I do, because I realize that music is really a message, and is what message you send out with it. It doesn't go by itself. You have to create it and send it out. So that's why I believe in positive and uplifting music, you know. So all of this is like life and the experience, you know, you just put together.
In having a son, how would you groom him to be the best young man or the best husband or the best man out there? Would you teach him about his emotions? Because that they say men struggle with sex, but men struggle with their ego and the emotions. If your emotions is not intact, nothing else is.
But not only men, human being on the whole struggle with their ego, you know. Human beings,
But I'm saying the emotional part for men is more a stigma out there for them, because we had people here, many here, that will tell you when I was a boy, this happened, and I did not know. I saw my father did this and how he spoke to my mom, or how he was treated as a man. And I grew up and I say, you know what, I would never be like that. This is how I would handle it. And then because of that, like they grow up hurt. And they may see their wife, they come and they marry them and see their wife doing something and actually snap at her, not understanding they just had I'm an outburst. because you can see a wife do something, and because of how you grew up, she do something so innocent, and that trigger you off with anger. How would you handle that emotion?
Well, first, I'm a man full of patience, you know.
Oh, wow.
I give thanks for that. So I do act arrogant sometimes, but I don't think it's in an instant, you know. Yeah, because I like to sit back and look at things, watch, and then I would like a game of chess, you know. I would study the move before I make it. You know, I think there is always time. Sometimes we jump out of that shell, but I think there's always time to think. We just doesn't give ourselves time to think, but there's always time to think because time is always there. It goes, but it's always there. You know, yesterday is not always there, but time keeps coming and going. So we always have time to think. Sometimes we move too quick. We act too fast, you know. But me, I like to like I say, take time and deal with it. Yeah, you know, because in that way you could break it down, and it works out by breaking down to stages, and you solve it like a puzzle.
Okay. Someone just come in, I'm with us here, and that's my boss. And Jennifer was asking some questions. They were saying past pain still weigh him down, and it says he gets uncomfortable about opening up. And then the other one says, what advice specifically or specific to the situation?
If I could come in here, good night. Thanks, Warren.
Yes.
Messenger, Rebecca, good night, good night, good night.
Yeah, I was not able to make it in tonight, so it caused
okay.
me.
That's okay. Yeah. I was looking at some studies here, and one of these say the top 17 reasons men is hurting emotionally, and so the top 17 is what's in the box there. Past pain still, still weigh him down. He gets uncomfortable about opening up. Want advice specific to your situation, and this goes on. So that is just some of the things that men. Why in the top 17 signs men is hurting emotionally. So it may not be for everybody, but it's top 17 according to the study that was done.
And it is true.
Yeah. He has poor self-esteem image. He gets uncomfortable when you tell him your problem. 14, dating him is difficult. He's in a relationship arsonist. He craves attention and validation. He's got cruel intention. So that's a lot of times, like last night, Tuesday night, when he was here, the lady in the video was talking about how the guy make her feel empowered, and then eventually just put her under subjection. But I'm listening to Mexi, and I think Mexi, I don't know if he's a Simon Paradise thing, but I had to go up in the same situation. But I think a lot of men, we have seen a lot of emotional roller coasters in our lives growing up. Our mothers, grandparents have gone through a lot of stuff. And probably people don't think that as children we pay attention to those things around us, but we do, and somewhere along the line, it's something that negatively impacts us. And because of that, we grow up kind of being tender-hearted and soft in a sense that, but yet still hard, like light like a feather, but pretty heavy kind of thing. We understand who we are. We watch and we learn from our parents, and the conscious man, seeing the abuse, would never continue it. You see? So when I listened to Mexi Saturday, right, I was so inspired, bro. I cannot even finish talking about your conversation you had with your wife. I mean, my hair literally grew on me Saturday. Seriously, I felt like my hair growing because even though I'm talking about getting kind of chills, because not much men will do that, you know, and to be putting your wife sit down and talk to her because in her mind and the way she was, she came from a 13-year relationship, and you know, some other men will get upset. I'm telling you, some men will go bananas. You know, I hear you, you know, honey, let's sit down. Let's talk about this. You know, that is major league. This is no simple thing. And I give you 1,000% a round of applause every time I think about it. I look at you now as a big brother. I'm telling you, I need to talk to men in general because men need to hear people like you. You know, and I have seen my mother being abused, right? I mean, emotionally and otherwise, financially abused. I see all those stuff, but as I grew up now, I've seen more of it and realizing that she's been through a whole lot for herself. And I look at the age, she was just 21, 22 years old, you know? And a lot of women around that age have been more brutalized than anything else in Canada. I might have a 16 to 17-year-old, between 15 to 17-year-old girls, right? There'll be more abuse in between that age group than any other age group, you know? You know? Because some men control them, especially they become vulnerable on the streets. And when they get married, it continues again, you know? So I think what we as men, we hurting a lot because we have our own self to like you say, man up. We have to man up and take charge. We have to be respected sometimes, you know, because if we do not, people take us for sissy. You know, they say, you are sissy. You ever heard that before? You know what I mean? I remember in school, I was called a sissy. Why? Because I had 7 sisters and I was just kind of laid back, you know, but I had to take certain things. It's true. You know, I was trying to call me Shirley at one time in school. Yeah, I had to do that.
That's where my man up came in from a childhood come up when they tell me to man up and I had to man up. You can't call me that.
You can, yeah.
I had manned up. You can't call me that in school.
Yeah.
You don't get for that. Can't call me that.
Yeah. Well, so I had to deal with that, you know. And I remember one time, you know, there were some older friends than me. Like even when I did not used to be like going off like how they go off, like, you know, going off chasing girls. They say you're a faggot. You know what I mean? So I'm not the girl chaser kind of thing. I have like friends that was girls, but then those bigger men who used to rush girls and stuff like that. And I remember one time a guy called me a blocker, you know. He want to talk to a girl, but I'm there. But the girl's just my friend. You know what I mean? So if I'm blocking space, you know, so you call your faggot, you call your Shirley, because you have all these sisters and all you hang out with these girls. So I had to do all those. I had to find my own path for myself. But I knew what I wanted. At the same time, I decided to become, you know, and to do things differently. And I am who I am today because I took certain position, you know, and I did not just lay back, but I didn't fight openly. I took my time and become empowered by the things I do. So from school, when I go in secondary school, you know, I become the president of the Students' Council, president of the Common School Cadet Co, president of the youth organization. You know what I'm saying? I start taking managerial position, take it up, and I become a respectful person. You know, people get respect that way. So I remember being abused and being bullied in school. I had to beat my bully. One day I just lost it. I pick up a chair, I just beat him. I just lose it. I just beat him down. You know what I mean? I didn't have a choice. I mean, I would not allow the abuse to go further than where it was. I pick up a chair, I just beat him with it. Just beat him until he submit himself. You know, so I got to that point where I just couldn't take more of it. You know? And he keep pushing it too far. And I just say, you know what, that's it. Today's the end of it. And you had to put that day I had to man up Mexi.
What caused what caused men to shy in about sexual abuse? And those are the nuggets that I want us to talk a little about, because when a woman is abused, whether sexually, physically, mentally, is abused, she go and tell somebody, and she get help. And that stigma is one of the things that men cradle and they don't talk about it. You find when they grow up and they get married, or they're in a stable relationship or environment, you find they leave in the home and go outside and have their experience with other ladies. Not meaning that they really want it, it's because they're hurting so much that they figure, okay, is either I go out and start doing it to other people so they could understand my pain, or I'm just gonna just play around until I'm satisfied. That's where you get a lot of men are ghostlighters. They are narcissists. They deny the power of truth. They deny the power of God, and they just live. And when they're done, and they come back. But so unfortunately, some of them have spur moments. So they'll go out this year and next 5 years, and they wouldn't go out, and then they'll go again. After 5, 6 years, they'll go again. And those are the things that we want to, those are the trends that we want to help men in, because in Canada here, as they say, Canada is a woman's world. I beg to differ. We have more shelters here for men, and we have ladies, I'm like me, who root for hurting men. And I would not ever sit back and know that somebody is hurting and not try to help them. But a lot of men, they keep their symptoms to themselves. Even if you bring it to the table and you say, this is the reason why you're doing what you're doing, is because you was hurt as a child, and it's time to drop that behavior, because that behavior can bring you into some real harmful place. So I just want to hear how the men is going to deal with that topic today. Mexi and John.
For me, I don't really like talking much, and I guess because of how I grew up, because I wasn't really allowed to. I always had to thief or go play outside or go play with the neighbors' kids and stuff. You know, it's like I never really could have just go freely or so. So most of the time, I always by myself, and I just go. So usually, I don't talk to nobody, and that's where maybe music came in. I had my little banjo, my little 4-string quattro, so I may play, or I may just go somewhere and just chill. For me, I never really like speak to people. Most time, I've seen most times someone ask you, if you have a problem, what's the problem? And you tell them the problem, and it's just like they just wanted to know your business. That's it. You know, a lot of people do that. They ask you what's your problem, and then you tell them your problem, and okay.
It just goes you out. Yeah.
Yeah, so I always grew up by myself. Always been by myself. So I never really seek people to talk to, and you know. Yeah, so
if there's a problem, you just internalize it and deal with it. But being you say you also do fishing, right? Being around other people, have you ever dealt with a situation where you could help them in that aspect?
yeah, people. I mean, people. You have people who have a problem and they would see me and talk to me and say, whatever way I could help, even if it's just comforting, I always make sure I could help in a way, because like I say, I know what it is for somebody ask, what's your problem, and you tell them and it's just saying, okay, and they turn and they go. It's like, so I always try some way or the other, how small ever the help is. Even if it's a number to get to give them so they could make a call. But some small contribution must come out of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, somewhere or the other. So I always try. That's always one of my goal in trying to help anybody in any way or the other, as small as it is. Because that's what help is about. Help doesn't detail a amount. £2 a help or £3 a help. So however you help. I mean, most time you use your discretion when you're helping. So
Mhm.
you could help you if you say you could help by £3, you don't help our ounce. You help £3 because you could afford to help £3 a help. You understand what I'm saying? So I always make sure that there is a little, at least small fraction of help from hearing somebody's problem. I think that's the reason why I want to speak to you with a problem. Yeah, that's the reason why people speak to people with problems for some sort of help or the other. They never really tell you. Some people tell you what they need. They tell you what the request is. Maybe you can't make it or what. But again, like I say, maybe even if it's a number you could get to, or even if it's a good comforting word that they could at least rest good tonight, fight tomorrow, battle with another strength, with a new strength. It's some sort of help.
That is so important. It is so
And
important.
we have to start realizing and acknowledging help for help and not finance. Help doesn't mean finance only. People think when you say help, you should give them money all the time. Help is finance. Help is finance. Help is not finance.
Talking my language right there. Amen. Amen. I like what this is turning. So I'll go over to John and then we'll come back.
Well, John, good night again. Well, I so many times abuse, talk about abusing men being abused and not talking about the abuse. Yes.
You want to lower the volume?
Okay, is that better now?
Yeah, because then I can hear your sounds properly.
Okay. Okay, is that better?
Yeah, now I can hear you much clearer and not muffled.
Okay. All right. So yeah, what I was saying is that being abused as a child, growing up, going into it, growing out of it is one of the most difficult things for a lot of people. I think I mentioned on this show, not on this show, yeah, this show, before, that I was sexually abused as a child, but not seeing it as that, never was, as I come of age, I get to realize that it was sexual abuse, but it was my babysitter, you know, with a family member, older, but probably she early 20s too, late 20s as well. So sexually get to do other things that I would have done, you know, and stuff like that. So for me, it's not until I become it never bothered me, really. But when you come of age and hearing about it, what it is, what sexual abuse is all about, you realize that, oh, wow, I was sexually abused, you know. But you see that as a little boy growing up and seeing who want to expose herself to you, make you do certain things to her, then you realize, wow, you know, that was abuse. So for me, I never talked about until I come to this, have my own radio show and start doing this stuff. Yeah, I kept that all along to myself. Really, I think mentioned to my late wife and to this, my present wife. But in all, a lot of people, and we have many guests who came on this show who talk about and who have spoken in depth about their abuse. And I remember one of the doctors who came on the show, when he had to deal with a woman, he was having real difficulty dealing with that, you know, because of the emotional scars that he had to go through, right? And now he become a doctor and trying to help, and he becoming emotional when he had to deal with women in certain areas. He had to do certain things, just couldn't get himself step aside and cry because he affects him still. So for me, I think I thank God for my spiritual consciousness that allows me to mature out and to walk out of this thing without carrying it with me. You know, I will mention it can happen, but I don't dwell on it as well. I was sexually abused by this person and leave it and go on to other persons. You know, I am very peculiar with even with my daughter going to certain people places, or where she go, how she, because I do not know who she going to encounter in there. So I'm always worried about that. I allow my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter, to go by somebody, and who is these people in the house? Who are these adults in the house? I remember Genesis came home one year, and she was still in an elementary school, and she told me she wanted to go with this lady after school and play with a friend. So I said, who it was? And she told me who it was. I said, it's not going to happen. She said, why? The mother's a nice lady. I said, yes, this is a nice lady. But the thing about it is, her friends that I know and what they do, the language they speak, I would never allow my daughter to go into that environment, So to traumatize her, growing up in the area, she said, oh, Daddy let me go as people, my father still let me go as people. Then you think like you feel like you let down the daughter now because you don't want to go to this environment, you see? So for me, because I knew what I went through, I don't trust people, but I had to watch them with not with one eye closed, one eye open, both eyes open, fully open, watching everybody around my children. You know what I'm saying? I can tell my daughter, no pastor ain't gonna want to see you by yourself. No teacher ain't gonna see you by yourself. No counselor see you by yourself. 2 or 3 persons. That's it. And the people I recommend that you be in that group with that person to talk to you in private. No pastor ain't calling my daughter to talk to her by herself. It ain't happening. Because for what I know, or some pastors does, no. So emotional scars from your past, looking back on what was done to you, you become protective now. You become that Mustafa. You have to protect Simba. You can't allow Simba to get the full scar and the hyenas. You can't do that. So for me, protection is number one for me. I want to make sure that when my daughter leave me, and something I always do, I try to talk to her about things that may happen or may not happen, preparing her for the unknown. Always be on her guard for it. Look at Abby, she's in training now, what not to accept as a 6-year-old, because I was there, I teach her such a self-defense, Abby, self-defense at 6 years old. Yeah, she had to learn to defend herself. Now, where men shouldn't touch, where boys shouldn't touch, and don't let that happen to her, and the abuse. So I am thinking for us men who have grown up out of abuses, a lot of men return the favor in a negative way. They abuse other people. There's a favorite poem, spoken word poem I have by Genetics, how she was abused by her uncles and then by her father eventually. And when I listen to that video, I watch her perform that poem, it sent thrills up my spine. They give her cough syrup to drink to get her drunk, to become numb, just to sexually abuse her, And a lot of times people are crying out for help. Men crying out for help. And part of people, like Mexi said, they tell man up. But you're asking for help, but nobody cry, but nobody really pay attention to your cry. You think, what's wrong with you? Yeah, you're a CC, you know what I mean? Man up. Be a man, stop crying, button up your pants. The kind of language you used to, but you're hurting and you're crying out in many different ways. And I think a lot of times, parents sometimes, in both men and women, doubt their children when they speak to them. Tell them something about, uncle such and such. Oh, you just be this and he does that. Uncle is abusing the child, the boy or the girl. They don't want to go by them. I remember going to a home, and when a certain man appears in the house, the girl turns her head down and she walks out in a corner. And I quietly said to the mother, something is wrong. She said, what do you mean? And when she kind of the truth she gave me, I said, you know what? Let leave those people business alone, you know what I mean? Because right away I realized she knew what was going on, but the child doesn't like it. But she is forced to be involved in it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought, well, why should I, But then the consciousness I have now, if I had to, I would speak to that right there. Now, I'll ask the question right there to that daughter. Then, And I remember a couple of years later, I asked the daughter, what was going on? She said, don't tell nobody, Don't tell nobody. Because if mommy no, if that one no, if this one no, trouble, you know? So a lot of times children have been abused by people, and when you go in the room and the person that comes in, the male factor comes in the room, if you see she bow she head or he bow his head and walk out on him, you know it's not fitting. Something is wrong. They emotionally scarred, and when a person show up, it comes out big time on them. They don't want to be in the same space with that person because they don't want to do it, but they're forced to do it, you know. And they kept playing with them. They kept want to rub their shoulder, all they want to body them, want to sit down on them, always want to give them something, you know, money or give them something for that. And those little signs are always apparent. In and the people have no shame because sometimes they're so emotionally destroyed for themselves that they don't know how to fix their own self, and they keep abusing other people. So the cycle continues until somebody put an end to it. You know, so some people kill the stepfather, they stab the stepfather, and asking why she do that? She's so why she do that to him? Why she do that to her? She had enough. And a lot of men had enough of it, but some men don't know how to control their emotions. They go out and continue doing it to other people again. So I think across the board, men are hurting. I think the whole stigma of pull up your pants, be a man, kind of put them in a shell. They don't want to talk about it, you know. But I think it's time that men start speaking up about their abusers. You know, even in the relationship when they've been abused, they have to start speaking up. Because even when men married, you know, they get abused. Women too, right? But men get a lot of abuse in the relationship and just they keep it in. They don't rebel. They just let the women humble still, you know, and be nice. You know, I think men are more submissive a lot of times than women are submissive. You know, we try to keep our marriage together. In 70% of marriages end in divorce, and none of it is filed by men or by women. Well, the survey shows that men want to keep. I watched something last time. They asked women, "What is something you do to your husband?" Right? Listen. What is it that we want to do to a husband? The first one say divorce him. The second one say kill him. The third one say slap him. When they go to the man, what do you do? He say, I will love her. I'll cook her a soup. The next woman said, I want to have children for him. The next woman says, what again? Clap him or something like that. All the other four men, one woman will say, I want to have children with the man. All the rest talk about what they do to their husband. The other two men will cook her the best meal. And next one say, I'll love her. You understand? Men saying what they will do, but women say what they negative. They will kill their husband, they will divorce him, they will slap him, they will clap him, everything else. So, and so 90%, every 50% of all marriage ends in divorce in the first 5 years for three top reasons: sex, money, and communication. And men, where is record as men abuse women more, right? They put it more. And a lot of this stuff, there's another American survey that was done, and they asked women about the abuse. You know what they said? 60% of women said that they initiated the abuse. 60%. Because two women come and say, oh, she came on, she wanted attention, and the man wasn't paying attention. He was watching his sports, he knocked him on the head. And the surprise knock caused him to react and slap her down. She finally got and she called the police. So he get arrested for hitting her, knocking her. I had a case where I was dealing with a couple one time, right? And both of them trying to put out a Christmas tree. Watch this. They came to me for counseling, and both of them, mommy do the Christmas tree that way, my mother do the Christmas tree that way. And they fighting over how the Christmas tree should be arranged. She pushed him, he fell down and knocked his head. He got up in a rage and pushed her down, and she was pregnant. He thought she was even pregnant. But because he get the head knocked so hard, he got and pushed her down and she called the police. Can I tell you today? He had to stay away from the house. He couldn't come within 500 meters of the house. He couldn't have no contact with her. Eventually ended up divorcing. But guess what? The divorce didn't stop her from being abusive to somebody she was with again. Until this time she ended up going to jail and somebody come and bail her out. You know what I'm saying? So the abuse of men is a constant thing, and we kind of stifle it. Yeah, we stifle it, and we don't want to be seen as that weak person, you know, and that hurts us a lot. And sometimes we some managers, and if you look closely on your work, you will know if a man is being abused at his home. You will know the reactions to certain things, the kind of conversation they were having. And I learned because I do a reading, a study on these things, I easily identify them, you know, and try to have conversation that will probably bring out these things in them. And some get it a lot, you know, what do you want to do? And you just don't want to do it because you don't want to fight. You don't want to put up no fight because she being strong-headed and stuff like that. So it's something that men have to be able to start talking about and able to be free to speak and not being timid about the situation. Because every day I live right next to a shelter as well, and men go to it every night as well. But not in the amount of women who go to a shelter every night. Women goes to a shelter. 3,000 women recorded in Canada going to a shelter every night. You know, and I didn't have a statistics for men for treating men, but they have how much money that is spent. $6 billion a year in Canada is spent on women rehabilitation and housing and stuff like that. Okay, so the facts are there, and I tell people always check it out. You know, read a lot, follow it up, and check about it and stuff. Grenada have a lot of domestic violence has happened as well. I seen some of it, but it's not reported as serious as it should be reported. And child sexual abuse, you know, so all this stuff, I think for us as parents have to be able to monitor our children, friends, and the parents as well. Yeah, because you don't want to let your children go in any abusive home where they will see abuses going on and they think it's okay too. You know, so you have to watch your children, friend, family, parents as well, because you don't want your children to go up in a toxic environment. If yours is not toxic, don't expose them to it. You know, period. You don't want your children to go to a toxic environment because they'll come back home and thinking that it's okay to talk to you, and sometimes they even think about it. Even when they go to school, they had toxic conversation, and they come home and they start talking to you a certain way. They realize, hey, I tell them, hey, I'm your father, not your friend in the school, girl. You know what I mean? Because they get it from other children who come from a toxic home. You know? So now I become, you know what I mean? That's what I mean? I said, what it is? I said, who tell you that? Well, this kid named tell me that. I said, tell me, I said, we don't even got what in our house. You know what I mean? Because that's the kind of conversation they have in their house. And they come to school and using the same kind of a language. So even in the school, children get exposed to toxicity. You have to be very mindful. And that's why sometimes it hurts me to let my children go out in the school to get those kind of information, get this kind of stuff. I prefer to homeschool my children if I have a choice to do that. You know, a lot of people do that for the same reason. In North America, a lot of people homeschool their children because the environment is too toxic. They don't want the children go out there and get toxicated with those kind of a language and behaviors. So the children come from different homes that are abusive and dysfunctional homes, and they come to school and they act it out in school. Want to fight, want to bully children because of the scene in the home. That's but yeah.
I want to ask one more question, but before I ask the question, I want to make a statement. Do you know parents that, or one of the parent that was sexually abused could also cause harm for their home? And the reason why I asked, I made that statement, when a man being sexually abused as a boy, and then he grew up and he get married and he come into home and have a daughter, he will put up all kind of guard to protect that child, even make her herself feel insecure and wonder, what is going on? Why my father is so hard on me? Why can't I just go out and play with others? Or why and that also puts a strain on us as girls, because we grew up insecure. What is he hiding that I should know that I don't know? Like, what is it? It also brings fear. And I say that, and I heard and my brother said, oh, you grew up with an iron fist. So he meant that my father was hard on me. And it was good, but it had me so disciplined that things that I could have learned as a young girl, I never got the opportunity to learn it. So I was always home, inside. And I didn't mind because I just adapt to being inside anyway. So it didn't move me. But it could be it could be very harmful and for us as ladies now growing up. We don't have that experience of veering out and by ourselves. We still need that extra hand to say, well, okay, so show me how to do it. Show me how to get outside it. Show me what to do. And we grew up in this bubble, not understanding life. So it makes us kind of timid to try new things. So that's something I wish that the abused parents could kind of back off on in a bit so that the children could not be so fearful growing up. Yeah? Does men agree? Yes or no?
Well, go ahead, Maxi.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yes, somebody agree with me.
Yeah, it does kind of bring a strain on you as the youth growing up again, because it's like the parents usually say they knows best, they're here before you. Sometimes we don't know what it means. You know? Thanks. Sometimes we don't know what that means, but they love to say they're here before you and they knows best, and you know. And some of the time it's because they have seen, maybe are not experienced with themselves, but they have seen, and you know, so they don't want that for you.
Yep.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Maxi there, because a lot of times our parents, because they are being through hurt and abuses, and they want to protect their children, you know, and
their first girl child.
yes, they want to protect them because they don't want to go through. They don't want you to go through it again because they've been through it already, and that's why I remember I watched a video with Kanye West, right, and people saying that he was so protective of his children. Somebody was making a move and he was somewhere else and just happened to just look back. See, something just knock him in the head, like, you know, and just go back and say, nope, not yet, not today. You know what I mean? So we have to, and I think Prince Harry made a statement that he killed his mother, he won't kill his wife. You know, you see what happened to his mother. So he's being protective of his wife too. And a lot of people might say, well, you know, as a husband, he leave a lot of wealth, a lot of money behind and all this stuff and gone with this woman. But the Bible command him to do that, you know, to leave your mother and father and cling to your wife. And he didn't want money. I mean, the man have the world of wealth. And just for one woman, like some people, if you go back, you can go back kind of thing. But at the same time, he left all of that kingdom life. I mean, talking about being exposed to territories in the world that you could go in and anything that you want. And he walked away from all of that to be a woman. That speaks a lot. And he was protective of her because what his mother been through. He don't want his wife to go through it again. And same with fathers too. They don't want their children to go through what they have seen, the sisters, the cousin, even the mother been through. So they prepare them in a way of protecting them from the elements. You know? So once they kind of figure out their own agency kind of thing for themselves, they start figuring, you know what? I don't want my child to go through that thing. I will protect you. But you have to talk to them about it. What happened to you? What your experience was like. So let them know that this is not acceptable. And that is not acceptable. You know, not just buying them from it, but explain to them why you don't want them to be in that environment, why they shouldn't be there. Because without explanation, they will think you're hiding something. So I think it's important to protect them and educate them about why. So then they now have information. They have a reason now why they should not go certain places, why my dad is being so protective of me, you know, and those kinds of stuff. I think it's important to educate them.
Even my last two boys, two boys here, when you tell them, they always want to know why, you know.
Yeah, they would ask you why.
They always want to know why. And they would break it down till they break down the questions that I'm asking until they reach to a satisfactory knowledge for them, then that they understand this is like You know, this is a comb. What's this, Daddy? That's a comb. They want to know what's a comb used for. Why you use a comb? What made the comb? And they goes down till so then you don't just tell them that's a comb and they take that's a comb. And when they finish, they understand what is a comb to the full extent that they know what a comb is used for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what boys. But Bill would say, okay, sure, no problem. But I grew up just saying, okay,
Mm.
yeah, sure, no problem. I don't ask no question. So now
Again,
I get old now, and I still do the same thing. Okay, sure. So don't do that. Okay, no problem.
when I was growing up and I was told don't, if I ask why, I get a licking for that.
Yeah, you can ask your parents that back in the days, man. It's true.
Ask why.
It makes it so right.
There was only complying. You couldn't even complain.
No. And the next thing is so true, right? Everyone get licked and just shut up, don't cry if you want more.
It has abuse, like I say again, it has its advantage and its disadvantage because all to man up in a lot of ways. A lot. And help me to be the person I am. Like I said before, I'm nowhere near perfect because every day comes with so much to learn that we don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we've made mistakes, and like I say again, we would. I don't know, for people, I would never make one mistake twice over and over.
Yeah. You know, I heard this last week Saturday, and that too has stuck with me, because you know sometimes we accommodate the same mistake over from people. They do the same thing over and over again, and they expect a different result. You know,
but there's no process. You're stuck in the same day, man. They leave you and gone, and you're still there.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been doing Monday, same thing you've been doing. You're still stuck on that day.
Mm.
So we should learn from this and try to improve ourselves and don't let the past haunt us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Most time we're stuck in the past and the present, we stuck there still and we don't even know what's going on to the future because we're stuck one place.
Yeah. I sometimes I quite do, you know.
What we should do is we should live our life when we understand certain things about life and certain principles of life. We should live our life in a way that we know we cannot rewind. So what we do supposed to be up, full and right, so we should have no problem. You know, because most time you can't you think like you could go back or you could, you know. So we should live our life a certain way that it is up, full and right. So it's like you say, you do no evil, you fear no evil.
You know, I sometimes I look back at a lot of things, right? And when you look around you see things that people do over and over. And sometimes you wonder if they are conscious of the state of mind that they're in. You know? Are they really conscious of who they are, where they are? They're doing the same thing over. Something tells me that you're not conscious. You know, in a subconscious state of mind, you're not a fully conscious person because you're doing the same over, walking the same path every day, expecting a different result. You know? And that's what I think sometimes I call insanity. Yeah? And even though sometimes we try to tell people about it, they have not awakened to in their own situation that they're in. Even though we try to hey, wake up, man. You know, wake up, lady, wake up. Sometimes they get up and they're still walking, drifting, wiping their eyes in life, through life. The whole world before them, but it's still blurred to them because they're stuck in a path that they don't want to get out of. And I think one psychologist said one time that people they don't want the help, now they can't get out of it. Somebody complain about the situation they're in so they get their attention. That's what psychologists. They want to tell you. They're not really trying to get it fixed. They're in a comfort zone where they're getting attention. It's just the attention they want. Instead of growing and get attention, doing good things and doing great things, helping people, they get stuck in a place where they want it to be just on them, 100% that people be with them. You know, they're draining energy from you. They're not empowering you. You know, and that's another problem people have. They're not empowering, they're just draining energy drainers. And how long will you feel that energy draining? You know, people are draining you, they're not empowering you, they're not lifting you up. I understand that, you know, I heard Les Brown said, if he go up the mountain, help 20 up the mountain, he'll be up the mountain 20 times, he'll be up there once. You know, so if you try to help more people, is the more successful you'll become. The more empowered you'll be, because you know you have more experience of helping more people to get to the top than you're just trying to pull people down to your level and stay there with them. And a lot of people get stuck with a lot of people in that situation, they never grow out of it. So they just they're minding that person, try to comfort them with their answer, pull them and say, look, man, I can't stay, let's go, or leave them and see if you won't make a difference for yourself. But if everybody going to babysit them right through life, if every time you pick up a child and say, I'm afraid you fall, I afraid you fall out yourself, and you just keep picking up every time through life, we come out and a 10-year-old and still want to lift him up. He never developed the ability to walk by himself. A lot of people, sometimes you have to lift them. You just can't carry them. Your cross and their cross is double trouble for you. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, some cross are really
sometimes too, it's because of the spirit of stubbornness. It has some people that just stubborn, if there is a word, stubborn for spite.
Yeah, that's when they do alone trying. They're making no effort.
Yeah, they're just doing the same wrong thing over and over, and they're telling themselves, if you tell me that this is wrong, I will do it until I wear you out. It's a spirit. And under the spirit of stubbornness, there's so much different spirits that come up with that. And stubborn stronghold cannot break that easy. You have to want it to break. It's like John was telling a story one time about a dog and the nail.
Oh, that one. Yeah. It's
that's the spirit of stubbornness. If you ain't get hot enough, you're not gonna want change.
No. It is said until the pain of change become worse than the pain of staying the same, you will never change. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Until
stubbornness is like the spirit of witchcraft.
Yeah.
Still, people know that, and they still, I'm gonna hurt that person until I can't hurt that person no more. It's just, I'm telling you, people, they take wickedness to the next extreme, and they're very comfortable in being stubborn. They just blind themselves. I will do what I want to do. When I'm ready to change, I will change. But it's going to be too late, because the devil, that spirit is going to take the whole of you, and you'll die in it. There's a lot of people that die in stubbornness. You ever hear some people say, man, that old man, he is so stubborn. No matter what you do, that man is stubborn. And he's an old man and he's stubborn. So could you imagine that there as a youth? Just grow old, stubborn.
Yeah.
Terrible place to be in.
How do you fix that? You know, a lot of time people sabotage their own self, and they don't realize they're doing it. Sabotaging their own self. They stagnate their own growth. You know, and they become like a tree. Unless you don't feed them, they won't eat. You know, they want to be pet all the time. So unless you have them, you have a seat on with them and say, look, this is the end of my journey with you. Now you're mature enough to walk on your own. I gotta leave you now. You gotta stand up and start walking by yourself. Unless you start with other people, a lot of times people would not change. But if we keep petting them, it makes you say money is not all. But helping somebody to gain their own self-confidence is one of the greatest treasures somebody could hand over to somebody. You know? And allowing them to be responsible for their own actions, allowing them to take responsibility for their life, let them grow and teach them how to manage themselves. Until then, if we continue to walk and hold them up, your path is become more difficult to walk. You know, so there come a time when you have to let them go and say, you know what? Now you got to go for yourself. You remember of the eagle and the eaglet. It takes it up when it just starts reaching up feathers to fly. It takes it over a high and it drop it. Yeah. And if it's not flapping by a certain distance down, the mother will reach down and take him and bring him up another higher level again until it learns to flap by itself. You see? So when you reach that place with that person, when it's supposed to be flapping for themselves and not flapping, there's something that let them drop because that way they'll pick up themselves and say, nope, that first fall was too hard. I'm not going to fall back there again. And sometimes it's hard to do, but sometimes you just have to do what they have to do to get somebody to just check themselves up. You know?
Because most time you're helping people and you know they just let go the whole load for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
people really believe when you say help is just to just take the whole burden and just let it go on your back. But if it's your own and if you can bring it, I trying to help you. Why? How me alone going to bring it?
No, you can't do it.
You need to help yourself. So I could help you and we help in. But when you throw the whole load on me, the burden from me now, it slows down the process because I can't bring it either.
Mm-hmm.
But the two of us would bring it. You know?
Yeah.
So we have to, people have to look at help, what is help, and look at help differently. Help is not casting your burden on someone. You know, is looking at strength where you're being weak. You look at strength. It's not casting your whole. I mean, you can't tell me your whole everything weak, so you just let go the whole subtle on someone. You know what I'm saying? You need to, because it says most I help those who help themselves. That alone tells you that you need to help yourself so you can be helped. That's common sense. Why would I just pass and feed you every day and you just sit down there doing nothing? And you could at least do something as small as it is. You know, it's still flesh, it's still emotion, it's still blood, it's people, human beings. You know, but if you show some sign of concern and interest in yourself, then we get more vibes, more energies, more power, so to speak. You know, the fire.
So it is now 9:42 and we come to the end of our program. We set at 8, so we go to an hour and a half. So we give God thanks until next week again. We'll come back together with Heart to Heart. Men hurt twice more than ladies. And I will round it up, and anybody that have anything to say, let's just do it and then we'll close off. Hi, Minister Antoine. You're cute.
Hey, Minister Antoine, good night to you. How you doing?
I'm doing very good. It's nice to see everyone on the platform tonight and the discussion that's going on. It's very encouraging and I'm very impacted. I'm sure somebody out there who was listening or will continue to listen would have taken something from tonight's discussion. So I'm hoping that we'll continue to do this again and get more people coming on to be a part of us. So I'm grateful to be here, just to hear as much as I have heard from everybody else.
Great. Thank you so much. That's our guest tonight is Mexi the Messenger. He is the husband of Tricia Grant Lewis from the Work, right? Yeah. Tell us about that. Tell us about it.
Dwak. It's our company, it's our mother company. It's the world would know you, my people. Yeah. Under that company, we have different, like you would say, sub-outlets. We have the fashion, the music, fishing, agriculture, motivational inspiration. We embrace mostly everything that is righteous and as a cause. You know?
Yes, man.
So we help youths who like they have who have little small business they want to, you know, inspire them. We get them started some help, get them some help, and it's a house for the youths and everybody.
By the way, today Tracy did an amazing job when she spoke at that Women's in Agriculture Symposium today. It was she was so on point with what you were saying. And one of the ladies there today, to me, my wife was called me to work there and said, boy, this was something, you know. It was one of the sessions she really listened to and called me and tell me how good that was. So she was moved. She was moved by it today. And she was thinking like, wow, women, you know, they were still having some roadblocks. I think because they're women, they don't see them as serious business women. But I will go back to one thing. The Proverb 31 woman was a very virtuous and powerful woman. You know, very powerful, very industrious, and still her husband was known in the gate because of her. You know, he was known, well known because of who she was. And Mexi, the way to get to know you too. You know, yeah, because of the virtuous woman that is accompanying you. The helpmate that you have is a powerful woman that comes into your life to make sure that the dreams that you desire and to have and your purpose in life will be fulfilled, you know. And I could see that she is very much involved with you and the children. So again, and she spoke a lot of that kind of thing today, in a sense, you know, of empowering women and how strong a woman should be. She talked about that today, and I tell you, today was a very, very powerful day. So again, shall I say thank you for that, because she touched somebody in my house today with that. You know.
It's tough.
Amen. So here we come to the end of everything, and Mexi wants to say thank you for coming on and be with us. I hope the next time that you come on, we can have more guys here. Unfortunately, some people could not have made it because of some things or the other. I know some is due to medical concern. So we just want to say thank you very, very much for coming on and being with us.
Like I said before, you become part of my family. You're my family.
Right.
Yeah, we're family now.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you need a
passport.
What's the name? You just slipped me too. You don't need a reservation.
All right.
You could just knock on the door and say I'm here. You don't need a reservation.
Okay, so I'm coming down soon.
Yeah. She gets her passport, you know. So when she comes here, if she don't come to your place at all, she will take back the green passport.
Does she have a
she have a passport? We just get back her passport to go to Green, and now she came back and she know Green, and now she know go off, she knows the person, she know Labby, you know, she know Greenville proper, she know St. George's more than St. George's, than, you know, she know more of St. George's now. You know?
You don't know Crum City?
No, she didn't know it. She get to know it now. She been to Guyana now, so she been to Crum City. So
where Crum City?
Wait, Leopards Hill. Where you went to Leopards Hill?
Yeah, they had like food in that place there. Somebody died, and then they had like some big
Crum City, man. So there's have all the crumb.
Yeah, man, all the crumb.
So groupie, they just go out with the crumb when they're ready. They just go all the crumb. So we say it's Crum City.
Crum City. Yeah.
I like Victoria.
Victoria is nice. Sunset City. Yeah. So you see now she know places that she could talk about places in Grenada now, you know?
She's Grenadian.
She's Grenadian. Yeah, but she's Grenadian / as St. Georgian. You know what I mean? In St. George's. Just in St. George's. Nowhere else. In St. George. And let me tell you something. She's my good sister and everything like that. But St. George's proper is, like you said before, she was sheltered. She's a sheltered child, you know? So we had to challenge her, and she went to Grenada this time, and she come back to show off on us. and she ate this in this place, she ate from this place, she to that place, and making our mouth run water for grain and food.
You got to go to Grenville.
And you get to go to Grenville.
Delight is the place to go every morning. Just don't eat too much because I might just show up over there.
So now next time she come to Grand, she'll come for Mexi and Tracia, you know?
Yeah.
Now we give her the green passport. But how for now she have the regular one. So
yes. So it's always a pleasure, as I say, you know. I'm looking forward to this anytime.
Yeah, man. Looking nice to have you back. It'd be nice to have you back too, you know.
Thank you.
Because I'm not going out in the scene in nights now.
Okay.
They're not working out too nice now, so I'll try the night now.
Okay, so you go in the night time.
Yeah,
what time at night you go though?
I don't go every night. I go maybe every other night, so we won't have a problem when the time is right.
Okay.
But isn't it dark?
That's when fishermen go out. Government go out all the time.
Yeah, it's dark.
Okay, no problem. I'm not going on.
That's where you use what they call your third eye. You feel the water every time. You don't see, you feel.
It's okay. There's something called wisdom Texas. Stay afloat. I will stay on the harbor and I'll wave you in. Don't worry.
You'll be lighthouse, Dex?
Huh?
You'll be lighthouse?
Yeah. Anyway, Rebecca, nice seeing you tonight. Give God thanks for you for coming on. So we'll be on at 8 in the morning again. Join us for praise and worship, Minister Antoine and Rebecca. John, you were on this morning.
You saw me?
I know you was on. I know when my boss turned on, and I know when certain people, which I'm not going to call name, turn us on.
Ah.
A word. So good night. Thank you so much.
All right.
Love you all.
Good night, everyone.
Hi, Tracy.
God bless you.
God bless you. Love you. Okay, bye-bye.
You guys too. Bye-bye.
Bye. One love. Yeah. Bye, Tracy.
This one inside you, in the sea, what love. This one inside you. I feel it for life of selfishness. Your love for humanity, you know, getting no one else. What you want to do, when you want to do, what you want and politics and said that's no mistake. Showing that you want to make how much can we do? Sometimes I'm be a smile and trouble, no say it's good. Just from the goodness, you are the one mistake. Cause this one is something you. In the this I see others against others, fathers against sons, brothers fighting sisters, my brother will learn. How much more we got to see, very soon the time will come, when all wickedness must go down, and righteousness must come around. When they still the children making babies, and make them as the respect for the elders, and the raise you make the building them a gangster, and the shot it with fire. Someone teach them to pray. This one. This one is little children making say shot it with fire.
Yes, that was Gem FM with Tex Manmoran, Hot to Hot, coming up right here. All the days, every Tuesday, Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on Gem FM. This is the music from Mexi the Messenger.
Yeah. Open your heart. Living this life so carelessly. Leave it back. Really, really don't think it's messy. There's no one, there's no side. Till the other side. Stop. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Too long we've been living in bondage. It's mentally. When the change from our hands are nothing. Tell us we free. But yet they want to control our life. Our destiny. But destiny, yeah. So wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, now wake up, wake up. It's wake up, now wake up, wake up. Oh yeah. Wake up, now wake up, wake up. For what is needed from the wise of the shall reveal unto the deeds and the suffering. What is needed shall reveal wake up, wake up, wake up, my people. Wake up and lead. Wake up now, wake up now, wake up, my people. Tell what always what they see. Wake up now, wake up now, wake up, my people. Oh yeah. Wake up now, wake up now, wake up, my people. Wake up, my people. Open your heart. Living this life so carelessly. Stop leaving God. Really, only if we see. There's no one, there's no side. Wake up, wake up.
Yes, wake up, my people. Yes, as my Mexi the Messenger on Gem FM. Ladies and gentlemen, I concluded end of the show right here. Father, we thank you for a night, an expensive night, a night where we were able to put value to hurting men and the relationship altogether. We pray, God, that all things that we do and say here tonight will really touch the heart of men out there, that they too will come to know you and function and have the mind of God in them to do the things that you would do every day. All right, so God bless everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful night as you enjoy life, and like he says,
Give thanks and praise all the time. Give God praise. Celebrate life as much as you can while you're alive. And don't make it get you too hard. But this is what it is. Weak in the knees. Right here on Jim FM.
You live a life of selfishness. Your love for humanity. You know nothing no one else. What you want to do? You want to do what you want. Apologies and said that's no mistake. Don't be a silent trouble. No say it's Satisfied systems, my brother, with the land. How much more we got to see? There is only time will come. When all wickedness must go down. Then righteousness must go down. When the sinful and wicked babies. And the region with the billion buttons. And the bitch shot it with fire. Someone to pray. Children begin saying someone pray. Father, we just give you thanks and praise for all the years, months, weeks, and days you have guided us, showed us your mercy, your love. We give you praise. Father, we give you thanks for rising up this morning. Strengthen like so we could go. The bodies not from each other's long. We got to take back and just reach up this one. So we need to live in life, and you must this life, then justice comes from life. Cause everything's alright, the glass by your side, as you should have right, and everything's alright. So never celebrating life, celebrating life, living with thanks and living. No matter what man you brother, no matter what man you sister, living with thanks and living. Father, we give it up for what you have done. Put us not just done that we had fun. So many mistakes we made that we have done. Now it's not us to give you praises in this song. So keep you living right, and you love this life. It counts for life, cause everything's up. The glass by your side, as you shield at night, and everything's alright. So every other time, celebrating life, living with thanks and living. No matter what man you brother, no matter what man you sister, living with thanks and living. Father, we give you thanks for every lesson learned. Sometimes it was rough, but it made us strong. But my destiny give me a overcome. So now we give you praises as life goes on. I know I'm living life, cause I love this life. I got this house from life, and everything's over. I got to by my side, as the shit of life, and everything's alright. So tell me how I celebrating life, living. If that's a living. No matter what my new brother, no matter what my new sister living. If that's a living. Side. Come on, everything is done. In this life that we live in, oh yeah, yeah. Says you got to have the. If I gave you this water, would you drink it from my hands? If I told you my secret, would you tell them I'm your man? Now that you know my secret, who's against me if you can? It's only good to my skin. Would you stand beside this man? If you decide to tell me yes, yes I know that you know I got the ways. If you decide to tell me yes, yes I know that you know I got the ways. If I gave you protection, would you sleep inside my door? It's only me and you. We would never be alone. If anything you require, I'll assist it on my own. Cause I'm a man of my words, baby. Turn our house into a home. If you decide to tell me yes, yes I know that you know, now you know what God's raised. If you decide to tell me yes, yes I know that you know what God's raised. Lord, I ask in my prayer, a woman so unique. Come and give me your love, girl. I never felt it so sweet. I'm never leaving, I'm staying. I just thought I'd let you know. So come and give me your love, cause I'll never let you go. If you decide to tell me yes, yes I know that you know I got the rest. If you decide to tell me yes, yes I know that you know I got the rest. If you decide to tell me yes, yes I know that you know I got the rest. If you decide to tell me yes, yes I know that you know I got the rest. Day, 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 night, day.